It is a distant archipelago in the shadow of Antarctica, but many pray this foreign field will be forever Britain.
Oh, you're going there! It's fire movement! Forward!
Gunfire still crackles over the hills most days as British troops fight an imaginary enemy.
Enemy!
They're part of a 1,000-man garrison training constantly to defend the islands. Most of these soldiers weren't even born when Argentina invaded. But while Britain is planning to scale back troops in Iraq, there are no plans to ever leave the Falklands.
Having had our fingers burnt once, we don't wish that to happen again. And we wouldn't like anyone to think that we don't feel the wishes of the people who live here are important, because we do.
The Falklands War was one of the strangest conflicts of modern times. Argentina's military dictator, General Leopold Galtieri, tried to shore up his unpopular regime by retaking islands Britain had occupied for 150 years. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher sent the biggest armada since World War II to seize them back.
It is British sovereign territory. An invader must not succeed. International law must be upheld. The Security Council is on our side, and many other countries in the world.
The war left more than 1,000 dead and shattered the lives of countless young men from Britain and Argentina. But neither Britain's crushing victory nor the downfall of Galtieri has ended this dispute over islands neither country needs. Britain and Argentina are now in almost every sense friends and allies. Argentina is a fully fledged democracy. Britain is one of its major trading partners. But the friendship ends on the shores of the Falklands, which Argentina continues to claim as its rightful territory and where Britain remains in a constant state of readiness for war. Across the water in Argentina, memories of defeat still cut deep. It's early morning at an airport in Buenos Aires. A crowd of family and friends has come to farewell Sergio Delgado, a veteran who's going back to the Falklands for the first time since he fought there.
Quiero agradecer a todos que estén acá. La verdad que me siento muy contento, súper contento, porque sé que la gente que está acá es la gente que me quiere. Me encanta que esté mi mamá, que estén sobrinos míos.
Entonces yo tengo pasillo y tiene ventana.
His travelling companion, Esteban Hubner, was too young to fight, but for most of his life he's been obsessed with the islands, which Argentines know by their Spanish name, Las Malvinas.
I suffered of Malvinitis. Malvinitis is a deep obsession that Argentinians have with the Falkland Islands. It's like the Jews with Jerusalem, and it's something impregnated in Argentinian education. The Falklands, Malvinas, Malvinitis, that belongs to Argentina, is our pride is our main foreign concern.
One of Sergio's veteran friends gives him his shirt to leave on the battleground. They've all suffered combat trauma since they were sent to fight as teenage conscripts. Sergio was just 19.
Con problemas psíquicos, estuve en tratamiento, estuve mal mucho tiempo, tuve que hacer terapia durante mucho tiempo y mal, psíquicamente mal, digamos.
His first glimpse of the islands brings back some of the pain. On the ground, it seems like nothing has changed.
¿Te acordás de algo?
Las montañas son muy parecidas a donde yo estuve. Lo que más recuerdo.
¿Cómo fue?
But it's soon clear that the Falklands have fared much better than Argentina.
Wow, mirá Stanley. Se estaba enseñando. Ey, qué diferente se ve. Stanley. O Puerto Argentino, qué mal nombre. Ya en Argentina, esto no es Argentina.
Y ahora no.
No sé.
This is no longer a community of poor tenant farmers. After the war, Britain gave the islanders British citizenship and economic control over their land and rich fishing fields. It's now a prosperous, self-governing overseas territory, though ultimate power still rests with Her Majesty's Governor, Howard Pearce.
The conflict was a catalyst for change, a catalyst for development, a catalyst for investment, which has brought many benefits to this society, but it's tragic that it had to be at such a cost.
The trauma the community suffered in the war has become part of its psyche. Patrick Watts ran the radio station in 1982, broadcasting live as the Argentine military stormed into Stanley.
And the Free Para had tremendous resistance from the Argentines on Mount Longdon. And then
He now makes a living taking tours to the battlefields. He's often taken out British veterans, but Sergio is the first Argentine veteran he's ever met.
You know, it was okay for Galtieri to be telling everybody, oh, the Malvinas are ours and you boys have got to fight to the death. You know, you've got to fight forever and ever. But when they got here, no one was there to welcome them. No one wanted them. We didn't speak the same language. I mean, they must have wondered what the hell they were doing here.
He's agreed to take Sergio back to his old position where he endured 2 miserable months.
My position, Patrick, my position. Era mucho más profunda. Y tenía piedras arriba.
You're right here.
Aquí estaba yo. Este es mi lugar. Este es el lugar donde yo te digo que vi cuando espié a la noche. Que vi al inglés muerto. Aquí.
Sergio's company was sent to the top of Mount Longdon, with no shelter, no food, and no idea why they were there.
Frío, sí, mucho frío, era insoportable, no se podía aguantar de ninguna manera. Aparte era muy incómodo el lugar para estar, eso es lo que más recuerdo.
Yo estando tirado ahí adentro, escuchaba que las bombas pegaban cerca de mí. Estos bombazos los escuché todo y las esquirlas pegaban en mi techo y me entraba a la tierra.
The debris was jumping everywhere.
Well, because the shells are coming from Stanley,
bombas de Stanley
up here.
Claro.
Coming on the mountain.
Argentinas.
Argentine shells
claro.
are coming here
Claro.
to hit the British.
Dañó mis ambas piernas.
During the final assault, Sergio was injured by a shell blast. His friend beside him was bayoneted to death. The same British soldiers saved Sergio's life.
Me decía, come on, y me apuntaba con un arma a la cabeza. Entonces le dije, please my legs, mal dicho por ahí, pero me entendió. Entonces sin dejar de apuntarme, me agarró de las bombachas y me levantó y me vio que estaba herido. Entonces dejó de apuntarme, se guardó el arma, que era un arma argentina que él tenía. Se guardó el arma, me dijo algo, que espere, me habrá dicho que ahora volvía. Se fue y volvió con un enfermero que hablaba un poco de español. El enfermero me revisó un poco, me aplicó morfina, me dijo que mi compañero estaba muerto y que me iban a sacar de ese lugar.
Drawn together by a common obsession, these 2 men from different sides soon form an unlikely bond.
Well, it's just so interesting for me to hear him tell his side of the story. How did they occupy themselves? You know, what was life like for them? we wanted him out of the place as fast as possible, by any means. You know, now I'm glad this guy's alive. It's great to meet him.
But that doesn't mean Patrick Watts feels any differently about Argentina.
Yes, we can forgive what happened in the war, but we can't change the attitude of the present-day Argentine government. And that's the sad fact of this. All these men were killed, and at the end of it all, governmentally, between us, nothing has really changed at all.
The Falkland Islands are less than 500 kilometres from South America. But despite 24 years of entreaties and pressure from Argentina, the islanders remain British to their bootstraps. In an age when the sun has all but set on the empire, they still look to a motherland 14,000 kilometres away.
And this is Europe Today from the BBC.
Trudi McPhee comes from one of the Falklands' oldest families. They've grown wool here for 4 generations.
My dad, he always says, because our ancestors come from Harris, an island off Scotland, and he always says, silly old blighters, they went from one cold, windswept island to another. He thought they could have went somewhere a bit warmer.
But you wouldn't change it?
Not for the world. I think it's wild, it's sort of rough, and it's just a way of life that we've always been used to. It's a freedom, and it's a good place to live.
Like many Falklanders, she's still bitter about the time her freedom was taken away, when Argentina occupied the islands for 72 days and treated them like prisoners.
Oh, furious. You know, how dare they come and invade our cabbage patch?
She hasn't seen an Argentine since the 1982 invasion, nor does she wish to again. You're not going to meet any Argentines?
No.
Nothing to do with them?
Nope. End of story.
Most of those who died were Argentine conscripts, more than 600 of them. But fewer than 20 veterans are believed to have visited their graves. Argentina discourages official trips so as not to recognise British sovereignty.
Quintana fue compañero mío de mi compañía. Cayó en Monte London. Sí, yo lo vi pasar, cuando yo estaba herido lo vi pasar, que lo llevaban 2 Royal Marine, llevaban a enterrarlo a Quintana. Voy a dejarle el rosario. Que Dios te bendiga. La verdad que es un momento muy emotivo para mí. Estoy muy emocionado. Vengo a darle mis respetos a mis compañeros, en nombre mío y en nombre de todos los veteranos. Y estoy totalmente en contra de las guerras. No sirven para nada. Traen muertes, traen odio. Entre pueblos que por ahí los pueblos no tengan nada que ver. Son quienes los dirigen a veces.
Toda la parte esa de atrás.
Esteban, in contrast, once passionately supported the invasion.
I hated the Falklanders and I hated the British, and I felt very, very angry about the situation. I was blind, like many Argentinians.
Esteban first came here in 1999 to pursue his passion for the Malvinas. At the time, Britain still banned Argentines as punishment for the war. So he used an Israeli passport he'd obtained while studying in Jerusalem.
I know you. And I had enough time to discover this place and to fall in love in certain ways with this place and to realize that this place was not what I, as an Argentinian, thought that it is. I thought that this place is very British in many ways, and I discovered that the islanders, they are not monsters. They are very nice people.
His passion now is to find a face-saving solution that would settle Argentina's claim. It could certainly be in Britain's interest. The cost of the standoff is this military base, strictly off limits to our camera, a sprawling complex of troops, fighter planes and high-tech weaponry. Britain spends more than $250 million a year to keep it running.
Well, I say this is important to us, and that's why we keep it. I suppose we're very fortunate that we're the fourth wealthiest nation in the world.
Sir Alan West was captain of the Ardent during the war and was the last to step off his frigate when it was sunk by Argentine fire. He's just retired from the post of Admiral commanding the British Navy. He's come back to commemorate his 22 crewmen who died.
It brings back happy memories of a ship that was a wonderful ship and things like that, and then very sad memories of their loss, but I'm very proud of what they achieved down here. I suppose we're scarred by what happened in the past. I mean, they'd told us effectively they wouldn't be using force then, and they invaded it.
At times you can't help wondering why Britain and Argentina place such importance on these islands. They have little strategic importance, they're riddled with landmines from the war, and the weather is often only good for penguins. But the massive cost of defending the Falklands as an outpost of empire has become part of the accepted order. Howard Pearce is at the apex, entertaining visiting dignitaries and local worthies at Government House in Stanley.
The principle to which Falkland Islanders adhere is that they have the right to determine their own future. As I say, many families have been here for 4, 5, even 6 generations. This is their home. It's the place where they have all their economic stake, and they feel that they have the right to decide where their future should lie.
Hello, nice to see you.
The pomp, grandeur and cost of all this sit oddly with the size of the population. Officially, there are 2,900 people here. But hundreds of them are guest workers from Chile and the British territory of St Helena, doing cheap work the locals won't. By some estimates, Britain's expenditure of hundreds of millions of dollars a year is to defend a permanent community of less than a few hundred people.
In my opinion, the Falkland Islands became a country club for the rich Falklanders that live around the world during the year, and in summertime they come here. In my opinion, there are only 200 Falklanders, really Falklanders here.
It is a small community. 2,500, 2,000, 1,000 is a small community. But that does not mean that those people don't have the same rights as larger communities.
Argentina has given up trying to woo the Falklands community. In the past, it offered to pay them to relocate. Now it's making life more difficult, taking a hard line on the sea and airspace it controls around the islands.
They're putting pressure on us every way you move. They interfere with the fisheries, they interfere with the flights, anything you name. If they can make it awkward for us, you know, they're just like a big bully sitting on your shoulder. And whichever way you try and move, you know, they're there.
Could you ever see yourself living in a political settlement whereby...
No, I definitely could not. That is definitely not odd either. If Archie's come here, Trudy's off.
Sergio's visit was never about the politics. It was to find his own peace. And after the rare chance to face the past, he was feeling reborn.
No sé, no me lo explico, tenía mucho miedo antes de venir y cuando estuve acá, que estuve en el Monte London, cuando volví de Monte London me sentí liviano, me sentí que me había sacado un peso de encima, que se habían acabado los fantasmas para mí.
He's now determined to bring back other veterans to experience the same release. After a quarter of a century, two democratic allies are no closer to resolving this oddest of quarrels. The Falklands remain forever Britain, forever disputed, and never completely at peace. Are planning to scale back troops to Iraq. There are no